Hey there, just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for checking out this how-to video on my YouTube channel. Just wanted to first give a quick disclaimer. I am not your licensed managing broker. If you're watching this and regardless of what brokerage you're at, I am a real estate professional that has done many different things across the real estate industry. So I'm just going to share my setup, my experience, what I teach and recommend. Use it as you will. At your own risk. The stuff that I have done, I know has worked for me. But if you do have any questions, you're a newer experienced agent and you're just not sure, please go ahead and ask your licensed managing broker. But feel free to use what I'm doing. I am based in the state of Texas, so the things that I share and show are going to be Texas related. But if you're a real estate agent in Texas, or you're just trying to get a feel for real estate practices or best practices in general, feel free to jump right into my how-to. Thanks so much for watching. Please go ahead and subscribe.
Morning, everybody. Not sure if I'm live yet. I'm trying something a little new today. Looks like I am. Let me make sure there's no echo or anything. I am broadcasting live today via my Zoom app. So that is a video chat app or a video webinar app that I use called Zoom. I do a lot of meetings on Zoom. I connect with folks all across the country on Zoom. And today I've linked up my Facebook live stream to my Zoom video webinar tool to come to you live so I can do more things, more cool things coming soon, like interviews and different things like that. So I'm fiddling with it here real quick. But Monday, did a little mindset for you guys, talked about vulnerability. Friday, I'm excited for what's coming Friday. But today, on Wednesdays, I like to do something that's skill set related. Good morning. Thank you for watching, Kristen. Hi, everybody. So skill set related. So skill set that I think is one of the most fundamental skills that you need to build and have in kind of today's modern era, regardless of what industry or business you work in, but especially true in our real estate world is, give me 1 second. This is my sister-in-law. I want to make sure everything's okay. All right. So a skill that I think is super duper important in today's kind of modern world is the skill of being able to conduct research, being able to research quickly, in depth, and effectively. And here's why that's really important, in our profession in real estate, and really probably in yours too, if you stop and think about it. Research is typically one of the two prerequisites for problem solving. So you remember back being in school when you had those word problems and, you hated those. Those were at the end of the math assignments, right? I still help my son with his word problems, so I know they still exist. So you're going through your math homework and, the first 18 questions are pretty easy. And all of a sudden you get to the last 3 or 4 and they're word problems. And word problems from, school went something like, John has a situation. They describe details about John's situation. And then they say John has X number of, widgets, and Sally needs Y number of widgets, and John has to figure out how to get Sally the Y widgets, but what's going to happen to the X widgets? So you've got all these components, all these variables, all these different things going on. Well, that is very similar to problems that we come across every single day in our daily life, in our personal and professional worlds. And in real estate specifically, you come across all kinds of word problems. You come across somebody who needs a house, but they have to figure out if they can afford that house, and they have a house to sell beforehand, and they're not the only decision maker. That's a word problem. There's 3 or 4 variables in there. Or you come across, a different kind of situation, whether it be, finance related or marketing related. You need to reach an audience and you want to connect with that audience and you want to share information, but at the same time, you want them to reach out to you, and you don't want to come across like you're selling someone on something. You want to be authentic, but you really want to deliver, the value proposition for your business. Or, you work in a profession or trade where you deal with people all day, every day, and that is full of problems, right? That's full of word problems, people's attitudes, people's ideas, opinions, expectations, all that sort of stuff, right? So every single day you're faced with the modern day version of a word problem that we all used to hate when we were in school. And like I said, it's research. The skill of being able to research is one of the 2 ways you can start to solve word problems. So the best way is maybe you've already done your research in the past, or you've learned from experience, you've learned by doing, you're an expert in your craft or your field or a certain subject matter. Then you have the knowledge required to immediately start crafting a solution to that problem you encounter, right? That word problem. But if you do not, which is very true for so many of us in so many circumstances, especially if you're pushing yourself outside of your boundaries every single day and you're working to solve bigger and bigger problems, because the bigger problems you solve for people, the more impact you have. The more impact you have, the more you are going to earn and grow and develop, all those things that we all want to do, especially in our professional lives. So if you don't have the knowledge and you have to go out and research, many of us, I've found, have either forgotten how to do that well, or we've never been taught how to do that really well, or we don't constantly work on perfecting that craft, or maybe we just don't even think about it as a skill. So I'm first here to tell you that learning how to research or conducting research is a skill, just like solving those word problems was a skill. And it takes, to be effective and consistent and efficient, right? To be able to go quickly, it takes a process, following a process. That's the most effective way to be great at research. So your process for most of us typically is going to begin on the phone, right? And the phone is a really powerful tool, but it can also be a really problematic crutch, because just the way things are rendered and the way things the way you view things on the phone and the small things you can read are not always how you conduct the most in-depth research. So to me, phones are great for quick research or research that is conducted what I'd call on the fly, right? So for example, in real estate, you're in the middle of a home and your client wants to ask you some information. You can pull up the MLS listing on your phone and you can answer them some basic information. But I don't encourage you to be running a CMA from your phone. That kind of research should be done on a computer with a couple of screens so you can compare and contrast. And that's just an example of where we do our research. So first thing you need to keep in mind when you're conducting research is, where do you need to be doing this research? Literally on your mobile device or on your computer. That's step one to consider. The next thing to consider is how you're going to conduct this research. Is it visual? Is it audio? Or is it written? Or does it exist in a combination of all those three forms? So of course, the first thing that I recommend to every single person, there's three places, but I recommend you go to the web and start searching. So the first place you're going to search, of course, is Google. I recommend you search in Google by typing in the keywords or asking the question as a consumer would ask that question. So again, in real estate, if you're going to start researching how something works or what something means or whatever, I would go to Google first and I'd see what articles are there. A lot of times there's content and things written by people in our profession, in our industry, that want to share their knowledge and information. So Google is a great how you're going to research or where you're going to research. Then you've got YouTube. YouTube is huge. And for a lot of us, that's not the first place we think to go yet, depending on your age range. But for other generations, it is absolutely the first place they go. And there's so much good information on YouTube. It's unbelievable. From real estate specifically, again, you could be a brand new agent. You could YouTube how to write offers and how to run CMAs and all that kind of stuff. And it's there. You could be YouTubing questions about, things and regulations and rules and laws in your state, and it's there. And you can't always trust it as being 100% credible, but it's going to begin your research. The other place that I recommend you research is inside of your Facebook groups that are industry specific. So number one, you need to be a part of industry specific Facebook groups so that you can go research inside of your industry specific Facebook group. But that is the third place I'd recommend that you go research, is on your social media platforms of choice. Specifically, I recommend Facebook. So you've got Google, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook. That's where you go. Now, the next thing you need to be looking for is when you're reading, when you're listening. I'll give you one more actually, and depending on the kind of research you're doing and how detailed or specific it is, how precise you need it. The other place I'd recommend is by going to audio podcasts or by going to books. So if you use the Audible app, or you can just go to Amazon and you can search for books around your subject matter so that you can deep dive there as well, right? So books and podcasts are another source of research information. And, it's just like when you were little, going to the library and looking up books and sourcing your information. But people, I think, forget to use that skill, and they forget to go that in depth with the research process. So that's the location. Appreciate it, Mark. Good morning. So those are the locations on where to go research. And then now again, or how. So now again, how to actually find what you want, because that's a little bit trickier. And that's where it comes back to you actually following a specific process. So if you haphazardly go to Google and you type in 3 keywords and you don't get what you want, and then you go to YouTube and you try 3 different keywords, how do you expect to actually research that subject? So what you need to develop is you need to identify the key areas within that subject that you need to research. And to me, that's where Google is really helpful, is if you just go type in the keyword of what you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for sales training, because you're trying to get better at sales, right? In real estate profession, we all have to have sales skills. So you go type in sales training, and what you're going to find is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites and coaches and blogs and whatever, right? But what you're actually going to find is that people are going to talk about different parts of the sales process. They're going to talk about things like trust and rapport building. They're going to talk about things like asking questions and making initial contact. If you're in real estate, you're going to see the keyword prospecting. And now you've identified some keywords related to your subject. So you write those down, literally on a piece of paper, write down what you've identified as really important keywords or key ideas or key concepts, right? Again, back to that word problem. What is the key information you need to extract from that word problem to be able to solve it? So the first thing you're looking for in research is identifying the key information that you need to get more knowledgeable about. Then it's really helpful to go to some of those other platforms and use those keywords or key topics and go search for those in YouTube. For example, real estate prospecting, cold calling, calling for sale by owners, scripts for warm leads or getting referrals, right? Now you can take some of those key topics and you can go dive deeper in an area, because that's an important part of the research process. So you've identified. The next step, and this is the most important one where almost everybody skips. And unless you are a specific personality type, this is not your natural tendency, but it's super duper important, super important. Once you've identified and you've started reading and researching and listening, the next thing you have to do is document. If you don't document what you've learned, if you don't show yourself your work, how can you ever repeat those steps? How can you ever actually utilize that information? So again, back to that word problem example I gave in the beginning, like the information that's in there in the word problem is not always super relevant or super pertinent. It's in there to throw you off. And in real world problems, it's the same thing. We hear all these pieces of the puzzle and we think something's really important, but really it's in there to throw us off. So if we don't document the stuff that we're learning that's absolutely relevant to solving that problem, then we're not going to be able to go back and reference that and actually be able to recreate the value that we've gotten from that research process. So you've got identify the keywords, key areas, key topics. You've got document your important findings. And then last but not least, and this step is a little bit advanced, but I really do encourage you to do this, even if you're just in the launch phase of your business. Good morning, Tay, come here. So I almost always keep Taylor a few days a week. This is Tay. You saw her on Monday. My wife is dropping off my son, so I've got Taylor with me in my morning routine. But anyway, so you've got identify, you've got document, and then last but not least, you've got package. Because once you've documented all that good stuff, all those good notes, and you package it up for yourself, now you've got something super valuable that you've created both for yourself and potentially for others down the road, for clients, for business partners, for people that you train, for colleagues, for friends, for family. You have no idea who else is doing this research, especially in the same industry or solving the same problems. So if you package that up, you're number one, you're able to reference it quickly for yourself in a format that makes sense to you. And number two, you're able to share and provide values to others when they need it. So identify, document, package. That's your 3-step process creation process, if you will, related to the research topic. So that's your Skill Set Wednesday, guys. Did want to share where some of that knowledge comes from. Of course, there's nothing new under the sun. I'm not creating all this knowledge from scratch. I'm sharing my perspective, my experience, my thoughts, and I'm hopefully simplifying a process. And a really important skill for you that you're going to work on this week is strengthening your ability to conduct really valuable and good research for the purposes of solving problems for yourself, for your clients and customers, and for your business. And those 3 steps come from one of my favorite books. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman. It's a super good read, super duper good book. And that 3-step process creator is one of the things that they lay out in there. A lot of how I run my business is and comes from different books, different things that I've read. So hope this went smoothly. My Zoom broadcast live on Facebook. I appreciate you guys joining. Love y'all. Let me know in the comments if this subject was helpful. What your thoughts are related to the skill set. Hopefully you did the poll. I think I put a poll up on Facebook, and I'd love to see where you guys rate yourself at, being good at the research process. So happy Wednesday, guys. Talk to y'all later. Love you.
Alrighty, guys. If you just watched the first portion of this video, that's actually a Facebook Live that I did earlier today. And I went into a few general items about research, but I didn't go into kind of the specific detailed tactics. So if you want to keep watching, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to go over some of the detailed tactics and might even throw some examples up specifically as they relate to your real estate business and developing this research skill as a real estate professional. So thanks for watching. If you like that first stuff, guys, please subscribe to my YouTube, or please follow me on Facebook, friend me. I do Facebook Lives a few days a week. And if you like the stuff you're about to see, again, please subscribe. Please reach out if there's anything that I can do to help. I'd love to help you anytime. Let me share this keynote presentation here. And you should be now looking at a few different examples of ways to research. So the first way is to think back to, again, when you were younger and when you learned how to compare and contrast items. Okay. So what I mean by this is when you're conducting your research, what you want to think about, the mindset you want to have and the way you want to go about your search is you want to think of trying to draw comparisons. So for example, let's talk about CMAs, comparative market analysis. Let's say you're a brand new agent. You don't even know how to do CMAs. You're like, how do I learn? What do I do? Just stop and think for a minute. All a market analysis is comparing and contrasting homes in the area, both that are available for sale right now and homes that have sold. So if you have home A and that's the home you're researching, well, the comparable or the contrasting homes would be homes that are of similar size in a similar area that have similar square footage, similar amount of stories, similar features to the home. Of course, pools, not pools, big yards, small versus small yards. So just literally stop and think about comparing and contrasting when you're doing your research. If you're taking a buyer or you're going to meet with a seller and you're trying to research their area or the neighborhood you're going to go to, just think about it that way. So I want to research all the features of neighborhood A, and I want to compare them against neighborhood B or C or D or all of the above. Or maybe builders, right? So you're going to go in and see some homes, show some homes. You're going to a listing appointment, and you can find out who the builder is of home A. Go research builder A, and then research builder B and builder C and builder D, right? That is just a very simple, practical way to approach research, is through comparison and contrast. The other examples that apply to your real estate business are your software tools. What I mean by that, I mean your CRMs. I mean your email marketing platforms. I mean your dialers. And so if you're saying, okay, I need a cold call for sale by owners and expireds, then what you need to be doing is researching things like Mojo Dialer and RedX for getting the data, and Cole Property Resource Group. There's a bunch of them. So what you would do, for example, to do this is you'd go to the 3 sources that I talked about in there, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Google, and you'd go search who's used Cole Property Resource Group. You'd search for RedX. You'd search for Mojo. You'd get all the information, and then you'd line them up and compare them yourself. Now, the reason this is not a super powerful skill for most folks is because we're not taught to continue using it after we're little kids, because Google does it for you, and software companies do it for you. You can look up and you can see, how does this software compare to ABC? So you might not have to do it for everything, but in certain areas, you're going to need to learn to use this compare and contrast process for doing research effectively. The other one is to research social media platforms. So, I talk to agents all the time that say, I should be doing more on Facebook, or I should be doing more on LinkedIn, or I should be doing more on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, right? Well, compare and contrast and find out what each of those platforms is actually good at and what they're used for, and then decide which one you should be doing more on based on the demographics you're going after, the age, your reach, your audience, the type of content you want to create, all that sort of stuff. So do the research through comparison and contrast. The other way, give me the slide twice for some reason. Next slide. Okay. The other way is by doing the how-to or the how does it work kind of search. And these are really, really good research steps for learning processes, right? Think about it so simply, how to change the oil in your lawnmower. Well, in real estate, how to run a good CMA, how to close more sales, how to sign more sellers to listing agreements, how to explain the buyer's representation agreement, whatever state you may be in, how to generate leads. If you literally just go to Google, YouTube, or Facebook and type in how to or how does it work, you can learn lots and lots of processes. And the thing that I'll say is, depending on where you're at in your business right now, you're either considering creating a process or you're following a proven process. Now, I'd recommend for almost every single entrepreneur, you want to follow as many proven processes as you can until you figure out a better way or where it doesn't work for you. But most of us as entrepreneurs, our inclination is to actually create a new process from scratch. Been there, done that, do it all the time, do it way too often. But what I am actually looking for and encourage you to look for in research is how to solve a problem, or how does this problem work, or the solution to this, right? And when you take this kind of approach, you're going to identify new things you can try, new processes you can follow. You're going to identify solutions and answers to problems. It's going to allow you to take action. So the how to or the how does it work approach, go to Google, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, and type in how to run a CMA. Type in how to talk to a for sale by owner, right? And you're going to get scripts and trainings and coachings and all kinds of stuff. So it allows you to take action. And then more importantly, the how to or how does is it allows you to start experimenting. So again, think back to like that inner child, that inner scientist, your 5th grade science fair. What were you trying to figure out and do? And then how fun was it to actually do the experiments and the tests, right? Or think back to like high school chemistry where you're literally pouring chemicals in and wondering if this thing was going to explode on you. At least you were learning because you were taking the how to or how does it work approach. So that's what I encourage you to do when you're doing your research. And then last but not least here is another way to do research is look for examples, right? And the reason you want to look for examples and how this works is, let's say you need a quick visual reference. Example of a listing presentation. Well, cool. You can go watch someone's listing presentation video on YouTube. You can go check out somebody's PowerPoint that they downloaded or uploaded, for free via searching Google. You can click Google Images and you can get images of the buying process explained, the seller process explained, all kinds of stuff. So when you search for examples and you do research looking for examples, it typically gives you something visual. A lot of times I'm picturing searching for things on my phone via Facebook, Instagram, or things that I see on the web, and then I'm screenshotting them. Click, and you got it on your phone. Now you can refer back to a visual process or a visual set of information. Think checklist, think favorite quotes, think facts, information. These are examples you're looking for. The other reason you research for examples is so that you can mimic, model, or mirror the examples you find. Those are all nice, high integrity words for copy. And in real estate, if you're not copying, you're not trying, because there is nothing new under the sun. You don't have to recreate the wheel. There are proven business models out there in our industry, proven tactics, proven strategies. They're all over the place. Hopefully you'll find some in my YouTube videos if you stay around and watch some more. I really would love for you to subscribe. I'd love to help you, and put in the comments other things that I can help you do. This is what I call a skill building video. So we're diving deep on some basic skills, but I do a lot of real estate how-tos. I do a lot of mindset work, a lot of different things that I provide out there. So if there's anything that I can do to help you, let me know. The other thing about getting examples is it actually helps you practice. So I'm going to give an off the wall analogy. I coach a basketball team for young kids, and when I prepare our practice plan, what we're going to do that day in practice, all I'm looking for is 2 or 3 examples of plays, drills, exercises, workouts, things that we can do to create a wonderful practice. So all you need in your real estate business is a couple examples of the best scripts to use to talk to a new contact, the best way to get referral business, and the best way to host an open house. And boom, all of a sudden you're lead generating. Or you need a couple of examples on the best questions to ask to qualify a buyer or seller and the best ways to set an appointment. And boom, all of a sudden you're out doing business, setting appointments, and actually helping buyers and sellers. That's why you want to research for examples of, so that way you can practice the things you learn, mimic, model, and mirror the things you find. So that's my research, skill development, continuation of my video. I hope it's helpful for you guys. Really appreciate you watching. Again, reach out to me if there's anything that I can do, any way that I can help you build or grow your business. Check me out online, Instagram, subscribe to this YouTube, find me on Facebook, anything that I can do to help, guys. Really appreciate you watching. Get out there and do some good research and go out there and provide better service to your clients or build your business to the heights that you wanted to go to. Thanks.